How did life start in the Middle Ages? How did women cope with the most dangerous moment of their lives? How was infertility seen in medieval society? I will try to answer these questions in today's episode. First of all, it's crucial to understand one fundamental truth about medieval marriage. It served the most principle of goals, that of reproduction. The idea that infertility was purely misunderstood and unconditionally blamed on the woman may not be absolutely correct. In Salerno, in the 11th century, medical communities helped shape medieval conceptions of infertility. Infertility affected not only the couple but the family and, in some extreme cases, the whole of society and country. Some causes for this affliction ranged from precocious sexual activity, which could cause lifelong inability for the young lady, as the undeveloped woman was not ready for a sexual life or childbirth. Additionally, bad nutritional habits and sexually transmitted diseases also caused fertility issues. In noble or royal families, the tradition of consanguinity led to infertility, miscarriages, and stillbirths. Some peculiar tests were conducted in order to evaluate a couple's fertility. One of these would have the woman seated in a perfumated stool while being covered by a sheet. If the woman felt the smell, it meant that she was fertile, as it meant that her reproductive organs were working. In some cases, the infertile woman would look for a midwife or a surgeon in more wealthy families. It was common that some homemade recipes were passed down from mother to daughter. Some recipes were made using powders, creams, or even food. Some of these recipes were from animal products like hair vulva or deer horn, while others were made from mineral or even plant products like basil or lemongrass. These recipes were often administered directly into the women's private parts. When all else failed, it was quite common for couples to turn to their religion. If a couple had been married for years with no success of producing descendants, what would that mean? What would be the consequences, especially for the woman? A good wife was someone who gave her husband some, if not many, offspring. Childbirth was considered the only way for a woman to free herself of Eve's original sin. Most of the time, the women were blamed for the infertility. However, in the case where the husband was impotent, an annulment was possible. In the case where the female was infertile, wasn't necessarily grounds for divorce. There were, of course, some historical cases of divorce, but this was hardly the norm. If the man who was impotent was unmarried, he was not allowed to get married. However, if he was already married, the marriage would be annulled. The wife would be free to remarry. It would be impossible for the man to remarry, and it would be possible that the man would be later cured, and in that case, the wife would be obliged to go back to the life with the husband. To prevent that, the Catholic Church would highly encourage couples that suffered from impotence to remain living together as sister and brother.